The game isn't won by the strongest hand, but by the most observant mind. Welcome to Winds of Thought. The world doesn't reward pure intention, it rewards precise understanding. What we're about to explore isn't a manual for cruelty, it's a lens for clarity. It's about learning to stand firm in a room where the rules are whispered, not written. Look at the landscape of your own life, your workplace, your social circles. You'll see a curious truth. Those who maneuver others rarely look aggressive. They appear calm. They seem reasonable. They can shift the entire board with a quiet smile. They've learned a lesson from observers of human nature across centuries. True influence doesn't shout. It positions. It waits. It understands how people act when they think no one is truly watching. If someone engages with you in bad faith, it's not a sign of their superiority, it's evidence of a knowledge gap. They operate with an understanding of behavior that isn't filtered through a need for moral comfort. They know how expectations can be used as a lever. They know how emotional reactions can reveal openings. They understand the immense pressure of strategic silence. And, crucially, they know that principled people often pause. They hesitate. They hope for fairness. Predictability is not a virtue in a dynamic game, it is a vulnerability. This isn't about adopting their tactics, it's about seeing the board for what it is, not what you wish it to be. Because refusing to acknowledge the game doesn't make you a non-player, it makes you an unguarded piece. The thinkers we'll discuss never promised you peace. They promised perspective. They promise that once you comprehend how dynamics truly function, you cease to be surprised. Over the next minutes, you'll learn 10 psychological insights into power and interaction, observed long before modern offices or social media. These are not inspirational phrases, they are cognitive tools. Tools designed to help you stop over-explaining, stop burning energy on unwarranted reactions, and stop granting access to your focus to those who haven't earned it. If you stay, you won't leave feeling agitated. You'll feel centered, more deliberate, harder to destabilize. Before we begin, I want you to type a single phrase in the comments below. I see the structure. Number 1, the target is often integrity. A profound observation is that those most frequently targeted aren't the weak or incapable. They are often the principled, the consistent, the transparent. They operate from a stable moral center, expecting, sometimes unconsciously, that others will mirror that standard. That very consistency becomes a blueprint for anyone looking to apply pressure. Strategic players don't hunt chaos. They study patterns. They notice who feels compelled to fill a silence, who offers second chances reflexively, who is uncomfortable with asserting a boundary. These aren't character flaws, they are data points, and data points are leveraged. A person of principle assumes a shared rulebook. That assumption is the initial opening. The moment you project your own code of conduct onto another, you surrender control over the tempo and the terms. They don't need to overpower you, they simply allow you to constrain yourself. The lesson is that ethics, without situational awareness, becomes forecastable behavior. And in complex environments, predictability isn't safety, it's exposure. When someone can accurately gauge how much ambiguity you'll tolerate, how many delays you'll excuse, they no longer operate on guesswork. They operate on calculation. This is why escalations are often gradual. A small test, a minor misrepresentation, a gentle nudge of a boundary. They study your response. If you remain accommodating, they proceed. If you seek to explain, they adjust. Each of your reactions teaches them the contours of your limits. Many believe restraint conveys strength. The opposite can be true. Restraint without a clear signal of consequence, invites further testing. When someone learns you will consistently choose harmony over your own position, they cease to negotiate. They simply advance. The danger isn't your kindness, the danger is your legibility. They don't fear morality. They fear uncertainty. They are unsettled by those who don't reveal their thresholds quickly, who aren't rushed to re-establish equilibrium, who observe quietly instead of objecting loudly. The insight isn't to abandon virtue, it's to manage its visibility. When your internal compass is known to all, they know precisely how to apply magnetic force. The shift isn't toward malice, it's toward strategic ambiguity. You don't change your core, you change what you disclose. You don't owe predictability to those collecting information. Drop this phrase in the comments, I observe first. Number 2, the strength of seeming unaware. Raw force invites immediate resistance. When your capability is overt, others prepare. They defend. They consolidate. But when capability is veiled, people relax. They reveal more. This is where the appearance of not noticing becomes a formidable stance, not a submission. Those who maneuver look for threats. They aren't frightened by loud opposition as much as by the unreadable. Obvious strength is easy to plan for. Quiet, unmeasured capacity is not. When you present as fully aware and completely capable, caution rises in others. They speak less freely. They guard their positions. But if you allow a perceived gap in your attention, a moment where you seem not to have caught a detail, the dynamic shifts. This isn't feigning ignorance. It's choosing when not to demonstrate your full awareness, when not to correct, when not to reveal the extent of your understanding. This restraint cultivates a false sense of security. People, believing they have an informational advantage, grow impatient. Impatience is a child of perceived superiority. When someone is convinced you lack options, they stop managing their own position with care. They speak more. They move faster. They expose priorities they would normally conceal. This isn't arrogance, it's human nature responding to a perceived power differential. A common error is the rush to prove competence, to clarify, to demonstrate intellect prematurely. In doing so, you shut down the very flow of information coming toward you. The moment others realize you are tracking every variable, they become guarded. Allowing an assumption to stand unchallenged keeps the channel open. If someone believes you missed a subtle tactic, they feel secure repeating it. Patterns emerge. Intent clarifies. What they think is stealth becomes illumination. The guidance was never about constant display of strength. It was about selective revelation. You choose when to engage, when to step back, when to appear contemplative. This variation disrupts their calculus. Without a stable model of you, they hesitate. The most formidable presence is the one whose full capacity remains an unanswered question. Number 3, the cost of over-explanation. There is a profound warning against unnecessary justification, not because truth is weak, but because explanation often transfers agency. The instant you begin to justify a decision, an action, or a boundary, you subtly invite evaluation. You are no longer acting from a position of authority, you are seeking validation for it. This shift is immediately recognizable to a tactical player. They may not challenge your conclusion, but they will probe your reasoning, because reasoning can be dissected and reframed. Every explanation builds a structure, and a structure has edges that can be pressured. The more detail you provide, the more raw material exists to be reinterpreted, taken out of context, or used later. They aren't listening to comprehend, they are listening to gather. They wait for emotional language, for slight inconsistencies, for points of attachment. Silence functions differently. It offers no handle. It cannot be edited or quoted selectively. What is left unsaid cannot be easily weaponized. Withholding immediate commentary preserves a protective ambiguity. When others cannot fully interpret your intent, they are slower to act decisively. Furthermore, when you explain, you unconsciously reveal your priorities, what you're concerned about being misread, what pressures affect you. What feels like honesty becomes, in their hands, a guidebook. There's also a psychological pivot that happens once you start explaining. You become invested in being understood. That investment makes you reactive. You begin to clarify tone, defend intent, correct interpretations. You are pulled deeper into a frame you did not set. Authority, historically, rarely explains itself incessantly. It states, "This isn't arrogance, it's a positioning of autonomy." When you act with decisiveness, but without a flood of rationale, others adjust to your position. When you over-clarify, they test its boundaries. The tactic is often to gently provoke an explanation, a question, an expression of confusion, not to gain clarity, but to prompt you into a revealing monologue. Once you begin, stopping feels awkward. The mechanism engages quietly. Silence, conversely, forces projection. In the absence of your words, they fill the space with their own assumptions, which often tell you far more about their position than yours. The principle isn't to be deceptive. It's to understand that not every action requires a defense, and not every decision benefits from total transparency. Discernment replaces compulsion. When you speak sparingly, your words hold more mass. Number 4, they don't oppose, they arrange. Direct confrontation creates visibility, resistance, and risk. Arrangement, however, reshapes outcomes with minimal friction. The strategic player rarely pushes you into open conflict. Instead, they position you within a set of circumstances where any natural response you have works to their advantage. They don't accuse, they imply. They don't outright challenge, they frame the context. Instead of applying force, they architect conditions that quietly limit your perceived options. You aren't forced, you are guided. And once you react, the environment has already been designed to make that reaction appear unreasonable or emotional. This relies entirely on context, not force. They understand that perception is molded by surroundings, timing, and contrast. They may wait until an audience is present. They might choose a moment when you're distracted or under strain. They introduce variables subtly, then step back to observe. When tension rises, their sustained composure creates a damning comparison for any observer. Reputation is rarely dismantled by loud accusation, it is eroded through steady implication. When one person seems perpetually composed and the other seems consistently reactive, observers draw conclusions without needing to be told. This is why loud self-defense often backfires. Defense confirms the frame that something needs defending. The more energy you spend correcting a perception, the more oxygen you give to it. They anticipate this very instinct, the urge to rush in and clarify, the emotional urgency. That urgency then becomes evidence for their implied narrative. Positioning also works through casting. You are assigned a role before you speak. The inflexible one, the difficult one, the emotional one. Once that label is tentatively placed, every subsequent action is filtered through it. They don't argue facts, they manage narratives. The counter is not matching aggression with aggression. It is composure and observation. When you slow your responses, you disrupt the design. When you refuse to perform the expected emotional role, the script falters. When you respond with minimal, measured engagement, the stark contrast they rely on disappears. Their approach depends on your predictability. They need you to defend, explain, or react on cue. When you don't, they lose control of the narrative's momentum. The environment they built ceases to function as intended. Number 5. The rigidity of fair play. The belief in inherent fairness provides moral comfort, not strategic assurance. It creates safety only within a shared agreement to abide by the same rules. The moment one party operates outside those rules, while the other remains loyal to them, the belief becomes a trap. They recognize when someone is committed to fair play above all else. They exploit that commitment by stepping outside the understood boundaries while expecting you to stay within them. You hesitate. Considering ethics, they advance. Considering advantage. The misalignment often determines the outcome before the interaction concludes. The trap isn't your desire for equity, it's the rigidity it can create. When you insist on equal standards in an unequal engagement, you may strip yourself of the ability to adapt. They rely on this. They know you'll hesitate to escalate. They know you fear appearing unjust more than you fear being disadvantaged. Observers noted that justice without the capacity for enforcement is merely a concept. It communicates values but imposes no cost. They are not moved by concepts. They respond to consequences. When a behavior carries no price, it repeats. When an imbalance creates comfort for them, it deepens. Fairness can also delay decisive action. While you're assessing what is appropriate, others act on what is effective. That delay is not neutral, it transfers initiative. They understand tempo. They move while others deliberate. By the time fairness has been considered, the landscape has often shifted. There's also a psychological reward in feeling fair. It can allow someone to feel morally superior even while losing ground. This is a potent illusion. Power dynamics respond to outcomes, not intentions. The alternative is not unfairness, it's accuracy. Accuracy responds to reality as it is, not as it should be. It adjusts to behavior, not ideals. When a line is crossed, accuracy responds proportionally and without apology. It doesn't seek a balanced scorecard, it seeks to restore a functional boundary. They will often accuse others of being unfair the moment their control is challenged. This accusation is tactical. It's designed to trigger guilt and pressure a retreat into restraint. The moment you begin defending your fairness, you may abandon your leverage. Accuracy means precision. It means understanding when restraint serves you and when it solely serves the other side. It means viewing rules as tools, not anchors. When you release the compulsive need to appear fair to those acting in demonstrably bad faith, your decisions simplify, your boundaries solidify. Behavior changes when it consistently meets a proportionate response. Number 6. The leverage of pacing. Speed can masquerade as decisiveness, while patience is misread as uncertainty. In truth, immediate reactions often serve the other party's strategy more than your own. They rely on urgency. They push for quick replies, fast commitments, because momentum narrows your capacity for deliberate choice. A deliberate pause disrupts expectation. When they anticipate a reaction and receive stillness instead, uncertainty forms. That uncertainty generates internal pressure for them. Minds race to fill the silence. Motives are questioned. Plans are reconsidered. The quiet becomes active. They are often conditioned to manage situations through controlling the pace. A quick reply reveals emotional triggers and priorities. A measured delay removes these signals. Without clear feedback, they lose their orientation. The advantage subtly migrates. Time magnifies imbalances. Those who rush leak information. Those who wait collect it. A pause allows you to observe shifts in tone, half retractions, or signs of restlessness. What began as confident may become unsure. Delayed response also inverts emotional gravity. The person who controls the tempo controls the attention. Others begin to wonder what is being considered, what preparation is underway. Anxiety grows in the absence of confirmation, and that anxiety weakens position without a single point of confrontation. Crucially, delay is not avoidance. It is intentional withholding. They expect either friction or compliance. Calm composure without explanation interrupts their script. They cannot proceed confidently without knowing your stance, and the pause denies them that clarity. Pressure reveals character over time. When reactions are slowed, impatience surfaces. Follow-up messages may appear. Tone may sharpen. Each attempt to regain control exposes more intent. The pause turns them into the performer. There's also a reputational effect. Those who respond instantly can appear reactive. Those who control their timing appear measured. Observers notice this contrast. Authority is often associated with command over pace, not volume. Many fear that waiting appears weak. They encourage that fear because it benefits them. True restraint communicates a depth of options. It suggests evaluation, not defense. When you allow feelings to settle, clarity replaces impulse. Decisions made after a pause are far harder for others to redirect. Their influence is often tied to emotional immediacy. Remove that, and their leverage fades. The goal isn't to stall endlessly. It's to choose a timing that maximizes your leverage. Respond when you have sufficient information. Act when the pressure has shifted onto them. Type this in the comments: I control the rhythm. Number 7, the attack on your self-concept. Control becomes effortless once a person's internal certainty is shaken. When you begin to doubt your own judgment, you instinctively look outward for validation. Instead of confronting your actions directly, they may target your self-concept. Once your sense of identity becomes unstable, your resistance softens without any external force being applied. This rarely looks aggressive. It arrives as helpful commentary, subtle comparisons to a past you, remarks framed as concern. The goal isn't to give feedback, it's to create disorientation. When you start questioning if you're acting in character, you slow down, you hesitate, you second-guess instincts. Your mental energy, which should be focused on observing the environment, gets redirected inward towards self-auditing. They exploit this shift. While you're busy wondering if you're being reasonable, they continue advancing. A stable, internally defined identity creates consistency under pressure. When you know what you stand for, external influence weakens. The tactic is to fracture that stability. They may imply you're changing, that you're losing your authenticity, framing necessary growth as a decline. This works because many tie their self-image to external approval. When that image is challenged, discomfort arises. The desire to prove you're still that person makes your behavior reactive. You try to demonstrate alignment with a past version rather than acting effectively in the present. This confusion also weakens your boundaries. When you're uncertain of your own stance, you hesitate to assert limits. They recognize that hesitation and apply pressure precisely there. They don't need to overpower you, they simply wait for your own uncertainty to do the work. The defense is internal anchoring. Your identity must be defined privately, not socially. When your values and direction are self-established, external commentary loses its disruptive power. Others may question, but doubt doesn't take root. Your decisions remain grounded. They rely on the assumption that you need social agreement to proceed. When that assumption fails, their leverage dissolves. You are no longer guided by seeking reassurance. This doesn't mean rigid inflexibility. Growth involves intentional change. But change chosen by you is strength. Change induced through manufactured confusion is weakness. When you are anchored internally, attempts to destabilize feel obvious. You recognize the pattern and can disengage emotionally. Without that emotional access, their influence fails. The strongest position isn't loud certainty, it's quiet self-trust. Number 8, the strategic value of unpredictability. Stability comforts allies, but uncertainty unsettles those seeking control. When your behavior is perfectly consistent, it forms a pattern that can be anticipated. Anticipation allows for planning. Planning creates leverage. They do not fear strength as much as they fear the unreadable. Strategic inconsistency isn't chaos, it's selective variation. It means choosing when to be accessible and when to be distant, when to engage fully, and when to offer minimal response. This variation disrupts expectation. They cannot settle into a reliable rhythm around you. Without a predictable rhythm, their ability to influence diminishes. They thrive on prediction. They test, they map habits, they measure response times. Once they model your default behavior, they design their approach around it. Inconsistency breaks that model. When your reactions shift without a clear, linear reason, their calculations fail. Irregularity creates productive friction. People become cautious when outcomes aren't guaranteed. They slow down. They question their own assumptions. This hesitation returns agency to you without a direct confrontation. Predictable behavior can also foster a sense of entitlement in others. When people know what to expect, they begin to assume access to your time, your attention, your accommodation. Inconsistency reintroduces boundaries without a formal announcement. They often interpret consistency as an obligation, pushing against it knowing you'll respond the same way. Variation removes this advantage. When access is not guaranteed, behavior adjusts. Respect is quietly reinforced. Inconsistency also protects your information. When responses are uniform, others can infer your intent. When there is thoughtful variation, your intent remains obscured. This ambiguity makes you a harder strategic target. They cannot plan effectively without a reliable forecast of your behavior. The goal is not to appear unstable, but autonomous. It signals that you operate from choice, not habit. The key is intentionality. Randomness creates confusion, deliberate variation creates space. When applied thoughtfully, others begin to adapt to you instead of you constantly adapting to them. They wait, they watch, they hesitate. The dynamic reverses. Type this below. I am fluid. Number 9. The power of strategic disengagement. Nothing unsettles a player who depends on your reaction more than your calm absence. They expect engagement. They anticipate debate, defense, or justification. Your participation confirms your investment. When you remove yourself, the structure they built loses its purpose. Walking away denies them reinforcement. Without a reaction, their effort yields no data, no emotional payoff, no leverage. They measure influence by the attention and energy they can elicit. When that attention vanishes, confidence is replaced by uncertainty. They start to question their own timing, their approach, their impact. Your absence also disrupts their narrative control. As long as you are present, they can shape the interpretation of events, assign motives, and guide perception. When you exit, that control weakens. There is no immediate behavior for them to reinterpret. Silence creates a vacuum. Presence equals access. Access allows for the application of pressure. Removal blocks that avenue. When you disengage, you deny opportunities for provocation, escalation, or information extraction. Their stage suddenly has no actor. Walking away also signals a profound self-sufficiency. It communicates that your state and outcomes do not depend on this particular engagement. This challenges a core assumption that you need resolution, closure, or validation from them. When that perceived need is absent, their influence diminishes. The unease they feel stems from uncertainty. An unexplained exit leaves them guessing. They wonder if they misjudged, overreached, or lost their grip on the situation. That uncertainty shifts their focus inward. Instead of targeting you, they begin to reassess themselves. Influence is often maintained through cultivated dependency. When you demonstrate you are not dependent on the engagement cycle, you break that link. It shows autonomy without confrontation. Many stay engaged out of habit, believing participation is strength. They encourage this belief. True confidence is often communicated through calm restraint. Withdrawal is a choice that preserves your energy and restores your perspective. From a distance, you can observe clearly, free from the fog of reaction. This repositioning weakens external influence. There's also a perceptual shift. Those who disengage with composure appear untroubled. Those left seeking a reaction appear invested. Observers note this contrast. The strongest signal is sometimes not resistance, but calibrated indifference. When they realize they cannot provoke, pressure, or persuade you into the engagement they seek, they are forced to reconsider their entire approach. Number 10. The state of becoming costly. The ultimate objective isn't winning every exchange. It's elevating your position to a point where engaging with you on manipulative terms becomes an inefficient, high-cost endeavor with little return. They operate where access is easy and reactions are plentiful. When those channels are closed, their effort redirects elsewhere. The final insight isn't about controlling others, it's about the impeccable command of self. When your reactions are measured, your explanations minimal, and your engagement highly selective, the environment around you changes. People test less. They push less. They look for easier targets. This isn't achieved through dominance, but through making interaction with you, on dishonest terms, simply not worth the cost. They thrive on emotional and psychological access. Remove that access, and their tactics atrophy. Without feedback, their pressure cannot calibrate. Your position is maintained by the consistency of your inner principles, not the predictability of your surface behavior. Your values are your anchor. Your expressions can be fluid. This balance confuses those seeking leverage while grounding you. This state also alters how you are perceived. People sense boundaries that haven't been loudly announced. They feel that your engagement is a choice, not an automatic reaction. This changes the interaction before it even begins. Many believe respect is demanded through force or volume. It is often earned indirectly through self-containment. When you stop chasing specific outcomes, you often find they move toward you. When you stop arguing over narratives, the narratives lose their power. When you stop defending your identity, it becomes unassailable. The final principle is simple in statement, profound in application. Power is quiet alignment. It adjusts environments rather than reacting wildly within them. It shapes context instead of debating every point. They cannot operate effectively in a psychological environment they do not control. Becoming costly doesn't mean isolation. It means supreme selectivity. It means your energy, attention, and presence are valuable resources granted intentionally, not extracted reactively. This selectivity encourages others to self-regulate. Once it's clear that provoking you yields no emotional payoff, no strategic advantage, and no drama, their strategies evolve. Attention moves. Pressure dissipates. You are no longer a useful focal point, not because you defeated anyone in battle, but because the interaction no longer serves their aims. This is the essence of the final lesson. The goal is not domination. It is elevation to a point beyond the reach of cheap tactics. When your internal state cannot be easily manipulated, external attempts lose their relevance. That position is a form of freedom. And that freedom is the ultimate strategic advantage. If they play with hidden rules, don't struggle within their cramped arena. Ascend mentally. Outthinking them isn't about memorizing tricks. It's about cultivating a clarity so sharp it cuts through noise. Clarity about who you are, what you will accept, and where your focus goes. Everything discussed points to a single truth. Power isn't loud. It doesn't rush. It doesn't justify itself to feel secure. Power calmly adjusts the setting and allows others to reveal their own patterns. The moment you stop reacting on their schedule, the moment you become comfortable with strategic silence, the moment you cease proving your worth to those operating in bad faith, a shift occurs. People become more considered around you. Not because you threatened them, but because you became unreadable. And unreadable people are expensive to deal with. You don't need to counter every move. You don't need to win every debate. Your purpose isn't to be universally approved of. Your purpose is to be strategically positioned. Once it's understood that you don't chase validation, don't panic under pressure, and don't beg for clarity, the game around you changes. Not out of sudden morality on their part, but out of recalculated self-interest. Manipulation only thrives where access is cheap and reactions are guaranteed. Remember this, you don't build power by adding more noise to the system. You build it by carefully removing your own predictability. If this perspective helped you see the dynamics you're in with new eyes, if it gave you a framework for instincts you felt but couldn't name, I ask you to do 3 things. First, like this video. It tells the algorithm to share this with others who need awareness, not just comfort. Second, share it with one person who keeps finding themselves in cycles they don't understand. And third, subscribe to Winds of Thought. The conversations here are designed to go deeper into understanding human nature, psychology, and the architecture of a resilient mind. Let me know in the comments which of these principles resonated most deeply with you. And hold on to this. You don't win by learning to play dirtier. You win by becoming more grounded, more aware, and ultimately, more costly to play against. Stay thoughtful.